Good morning, business students. So, reading this article today, very cutback version in this video for you, talking about how the fashion industry is cyclical and there are some staples, skinny jeans being one of them. We've done case studies on jeggings before and we're moving up market to skinny jeans. So I thought this is an opportunity for us to practice 4-mark explain questions in context as well with 8-mark questions, so we can bring in this fashion context into paper 3 2024, but we may as well use the same sort of technique for this, well, part of it. So we shall move on. So here is the case study and here is the question, the 4-marker first. So using your knowledge of the product life cycle, so we need to see the language of product life cycle, explain one benefit to M&S of stocking skinny jeans. So we're looking for 2 examples of different parts of the product life cycle. Here is an overview of, for example, the one that we did in one of the revision videos, and we've got introduction, growth, maturity, decline. Obviously there's product extension strategies on the end of that. So you're going to have to find 2 different examples, not just of maturity, for example, but to one introduction. So if we look at here, we've got our staging a comeback. Well, that sounds like an introduction to me. Okay, so we're then looking for skinny jeans, maintained a presence, evidenced by these people. Yeah, so we can see that we've got enduring appeal, maturity. I've got my evidence. I've used different evidence in the case study, actually, in the answer, but there is plenty of evidence here, and that's the technique. Look at the question, think about the knowledge, write yourself a definition straight away, and then go and get the evidence from the case study, because you know you're looking for evidence from one of these 4 parts of the product life cycle. Then, one example, we've got reintroduction. I've put that in uppercase for you just so we know we're using the language of the model. Skinny jeans to the fashion scene. This is where skinny jeans are being reintroduced into the market, potentially marking the beginning of a new life cycle for this fashion item. Okay, so we're using the language of the product life cycle. And another example, separate line, so we can do bullet points, knowledge, application, application. The example of consistent sales of the £25 Ivy jeans application suggests that skinny jeans have maintained a presence in this mature market despite broader trends. Okay, so we've got the language of maturity, and then we need to answer the question, one benefit of this. One benefit to M&S of this is stocking skinny jeans during the maturity phase is M&S has predictable sales and lower marketing costs, as the product is already well known and accepted by consumers. So if we would have just ended it with here, that is a presumption. Okay, now, and also it isn't very well contextualized, is it? Skinny jeans are in the question, so we're not going to get application marks there. So this is an interpretation of the case study. They're already well known, and therefore I've got an applied overall benefit. Now, looking at, I think this was the 2022, I think this is paper 2, looking at feedback from the chief examiners. This is obviously a different question, and they could be improved due to weak or missing application. Examiners tip to gain application marks, particularly in the shorter questions, use examples from the extract. Okay, stick quotation marks around it if you want to, but use examples from here. A common mistake is people define and they give me multiple impacts and they end up on 2 marks. Here's one from another examiner report. Many responses revealed some understanding of batch production or a use of it. Okay, that's fine, good, we've got the benefits. However, a common error was the inability to apply the answer to the actual business, resulting in 0 marks for application. It's a common mistake. If you write these on 4 separate lines and you use trigger words to remind you to apply it, you might have a chance of getting maximum marks on the 4 markers. If you can master these really easy, quick 5-minute answers, 16% of paper 1, 16% of paper 2 are 4 markers. Draw questions, calculate questions, explain questions. You should be able to get maximum marks on these within the time, without going over time, of course. Let's have a look at an 8 marker. Before we look at the 8 marker, first of all, let's look at the examiner report. So better responses to this question were structured using an opening paragraph to explain what staff training means. Obviously, it's a different question. Followed by 2 paragraphs, each one assessing a suitable type of staff training. So assessing will be pros and cons, obviously. We know we need P, answer the question, however, and then repeat. So remember, there is no need for a final judgment. Yep, so there's no conclusions for these. I'll repeat that for you. There are no conclusions for these, but there are for 10, 12s and 20s. Knowledge can be demonstrated by defining the key term at the beginning of the response. However, knowledge marks can also be achieved by showing an understanding of the key term. My advice is start off with a definition, because then I will look at this, okay, right, using my knowledge of product life cycle, assess 2 benefits, I should say 8 marker, I do apologise, to stocking skinny jeans. Changed the question but forgot the 8. So we're going to start off with a definition. I'm going to go to the case study again and look for evidence to do with these. And clearly I've just reworked the 4 marker here for you. And I've included my 3 chains of argument that I need. So one benefit is the reintroduction of skinny jeans to the fashion scene. This is where the skinny jeans are being reintroduced into the market, leading to a new beginning of the new life cycle of the fashion item, leading to extra revenues for Marks and Spencer's. So we've got a benefit to Marks and Spencer's there straight away. However, reintroducing skinny jeans requires substantial marketing investment and carries the risk of customers shopping at Topshop, not M&S. I know Topshop have gone bankrupt on the high street. However, there are no other competitors mentioned in the case study, and I didn't want to just say the textbook version, which was marketing investments and carries the risk of people going somewhere else. I could have just introduced a competitor. I could have said Next. They are a competitor. You've done the research theme. You could have just dropped that in there. Topshop were mentioned in there. I used Topshop. Next would have been perfectly fine. So a rework of the 4 marker. Another benefit is the consistent sales of £25 Ivy jeans from M&S, leading to skinny jeans maintaining its presence in this mature market, language from product life cycle, leading to sales despite broader trends. Okay, so it's not just straight to sales, it's thinking about the broader trends. However, the stable sales of mature products at M&S may limit growth opportunities in a saturated market with little differentiation after a decade on the runway. Okay, so I could have, again, if I would have just talked about this in an abstract textbooky way, I'm not going to get the mark. If you do not contextualize your howevers, you are not going to get the mark. Okay, yes, this needs to be contextualized, but so does this. So it needs to not sound abstract. If you miss one of those howevers and everything else is perfect, maybe 7 out of 8 marks. If you miss 2 of them, it is not balanced, therefore you're capped at half marks. And here's the level 3 criteria. Obviously there's only 3 levels in the 8 markers, not 4, so we're not aiming for perfection, but we are aiming for level 3 in this case. But I think that this is probably full marks. It's accurate, it's in context, there are 3 chains of argument, we don't need 4. It is balanced because I've remembered the howevers, everything's contextualized, I've used the numbers, and remember, as it says, we do not need a final judgment because this has been crossed out. Okay, that is, even though it appears in the awarding body standards, they do not hold us to it, which means you do not need a conclusion, and this is echoed by the Chief Examiner's examiner tips. Hopefully that was useful. Now go away, write your own versions, and 1.2 minutes per mark.